I'm going to bring on Ed Kirch. Ed Kirch is a very successful real estate professional, and he's going to come on board, and he's going to help us out with Speed Network. Ed, it's all yours, my friend.
Thank you. All right, here's what we're going to do next month. We're going to try to set up Google Hangouts. If you want to be a leader in a Google Hangout yourself, let us know, and we'll figure out how to set you up for it. And the Google Hangout will be where you can actually see the people. You can have your own group while the other group is going. So you might be able to network with other people, and I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, but you can message on Google Hangout too, right? Yes? No? Maybe?
I believe
yes,
that's
you
correct.
can. Absolutely. Yeah, you can talk to people. You can message people. You can go back and forth. People can be participating in this session, like when a speaker comes on. Like sometimes at a live event, you know, you're going to have groups of people at a table, and then all of a sudden, you know, the speaker's talking or there's a break or something, and the group gets together to go ahead and share something or pass a note or say, hey, that was really good, or we need to apply that together. And so it's like a group within a group, and everyone can set up their own group, invite their own people.
So yes, this could be awesome, and I think this is a way to make the speed networking really work well. So if you want to, you know, let us know, email, text, whatever, that you want to be a leader of a Google Hangout. And leaders always make more money, so you might want to lead. And this can help you grow your group. How many people do we have on the phone right now, Mark?
I'm hard to say, 15, 20.
Okay. So if you guys want to take like 30 seconds and tell us what you do and what kind of business you want, your biggest challenge. Anybody that wants to kick in, and we will go from there really quick. Now we can start. I do real estate. I teach people in real estate education. I sell real estate. I'm very good at investment properties. So if anybody wants to get a hold of me, is 630-897-5800. All right, who's next? Kevin, you want to go next?
Yeah, absolutely. My name is Kevin King, and my phone number is 630-386-5306. I help people get health insurance they can afford, and I'm at kaking@myhst.com.
Pam.
Hi, I'm Cheryl Nyhoff, and I'm at
Cheryl.
Conservatory. I am the finance and HR here, and if you have anybody who's talented and looking for a job, we are always taking applications. You can reach me at teamsuccess@tanglewoodconservatories.com.
Pam, next.
Hi, I'm Pam Martin. I'm with Strategize Wealth Management Group, and I am a financial advisor that helps families and businesses to reach their financial goals. I do that through helping them to figure out what those goals are and the best way to be able to do that. I can be reached by 219-776-3457, and also Pamela, Pamela Martin, Martin, 1206 @gmail.com.
Cool. And you might want to turn the mute on, mute the Google Hangout so you don't get the double feedback on that. Lonnie, if you're talking, you're on mute. Oops, Lonnie looks like he just hung up accidentally. Elise.
Hi there, I'm Elise Sims. I run an executive virtual assistant company. So I work with business owners looking to take their businesses to the next dimension, increase their income, decrease their hours worked through the development of systems. And my phone number is 815-370-1066.
Cool. So Ed and Kevin have a question for you guys. Like that's the traditional format that, you know, pretty much every, you know, networking group has. This is really not a networking group. It's a mastermind group. And the difference between a mastermind group and a networking group is most groups, when they get together, they really looking at leads. And so you give me a fish, I give you a fish. We exchange fish, but we really never get our businesses running without us. And so where a mastermind group is, we're looking at building systems to be able to create an ongoing, consistent flow of leads, a system to work those leads, a system to close those sales, a system to service people in such a way that it produces consistent referrals, and then a consistent way of building relationships for life. And so when you guys go to do networking, if it's at the chamber or an association or whatever you're doing, when you do that, do you have a very specific process that you use to generate strong, high-quality leads from every networking opportunity that you have?
Yes.
And what do you do, Kevin?
So one of the first questions I'm going to ask somebody is, what is your biggest challenge in any area of your life or your business? Usually, if it's a networking event with a chamber, I'd say, what's the biggest challenge you're currently facing? After we get to say, hi, my name's Kevin King, what's yours? I just have a question for you. What's your biggest challenge in any area of your business? And 100% of the time, people will tell you. Because it's one, they haven't been asked before, but that's a great way to differentiate ourselves. And two, is to take a minute and say, and to pause and say, that's interesting. Let me think about that. Do you have a business card? Let me get back with you. I want you to write down your biggest challenge on the back of your business card. Once I get that, then I can call them back and say, hey, listen, you said your biggest challenge was with time. Hey, listen, I got a white paper on this. Can I send that to you? Because it's helped me. I'm trusting it would help you. That's the first thing I would do when I do a networking event, and that's how we generate more and better leads that are extremely quality.
Cool. Would you be open to some, maybe a suggestion, a tweak on that?
Absolutely.
So I would get their business card first and say, hey, do you have a business card? And then I would, turn it over and I would write their biggest challenge as they're sharing it.
Gotcha.
So that little tweak actually makes a big difference. Based on that biggest challenge, essentially what it's doing is revealing their pain. And so once we have someone's pain, then we have the ability to build what's called a conceptual bridge between their pain and our solution. Like now contextually, we can say whatever we do, and we can then present that. Normally, though, it's best not to do it right then and there, because then it looks like we're just selling. Normally, it's good to take it back, put it into a Google spreadsheet, and say, okay, here's the person's name, phone number, email, and then email them and say, I've been thinking about your biggest challenge of this, and I might have a couple suggestions for you. Would you be interested in a phone call? Ed, what are some things that you have found to be effective?
I usually just talk about real estate and, what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
I don't do a lot of networking events, but I talk about investment real estate and ask them if they're interested in getting in.
Cool. Anyone else that's participating, any suggestions, questions, thoughts you have on networking, and how do you make networking more profitable? Or questions on, so you're either in one of two, camps. You're either one, you really know how to do speed networking. You know how to go to an event. You have a system like Kevin does, so you're really confident and share that with other people. Or two is you're not. And if we're confident in what we're doing, then we're able to share it, like Kevin was. If we're not, then we should be asking questions on how do we do that more effectively.
So, Mark, how can we do it more effectively?
Well, if you go in a buddy system, like wolf packs, like you're hunting in packs, if you had two people, one start out the left side of the room, one start off at the right, and then you work towards the center, and then what you're doing is doubling. If you have four, you take the four corners of the room and then work in, and you can work an entire room, and you might be able to get 5 or 10 or 15 biggest challenges. But if you have two people, you get twice as much, so you're twice as effective. If you're three, you're going to get 3 times, 4 times. So if you hunt in packs, that's much, much more effective. If you do triangulation selling, and so, if, let's say, Ed and Kevin and I were doing triangulation selling, Ed and I can cross-sell Kevin and say, Kevin does an amazing job. If you want health insurance, Kevin does an amazing job in being able to do that. You want to connect with, Kevin. So if Ed and I sell you, Kevin, if you and Ed sell me, if, you and I sell Ed, so when you get 3 people cross-selling one another, it's really, really effective. And the same thing can happen in the Google Hangouts. So if you have 5 people that, know each other and they're all triangulation selling one another, and then each of those bring 1 or 2 people, then if Kevin brings a guest, Ed and I can cross-sell Kevin. If I bring a guest, then Ed and Kevin can cross-sell me. If Ed brings a guest, Kevin and I can cross-sell Kevin. So when we learn to do triangulation selling, it's much more effective.
Thank you.
If I am asking everyone their biggest challenge, and I'm part of a coffee connection group, or if I'm part of a weekly mastermind group, a Success Circle of 12, I could share my entire database's biggest challenge with Kevin, and Kevin can share his with me. And as we're sharing biggest challenges, if Kevin can bring a solution to people I know, well, that's good for me. If Ed can bring Kevin as a solution to the people he knows, which he does, because he saves people money. Kevin saves people money in health insurance. So if Ed brings that to his database, that makes Ed look good. So when the tide rises, all the ships rise together. Does that make sense, Kevin?
Absolutely. That's outstanding. Any other thoughts?
I have a thought. This is Pam. I know that when I have used the triangulation selling for somebody else, it also attracts other people to me because they want to get on board. If I'm going to recommend somebody else, they think, oh, well, she may recommend me if she likes what I do. And so that attracts people to you as well, where you're not having to go to them. They're coming to you.
Nice.
Good point. Anyone else? If you're speaking, you're on mute. Ed, any final thoughts before we go ahead?
Well, I think next month, what I would encourage individuals to do is you're going to be learning in segment 4 about the 530 grid. And the first box in the 530 grid is identify targets. And so if you and I don't have, like Matt Maple, he was just going through and I looked at his, he had asked me for some feedback on his database and I saw that he had 11,000 people now in his database. And it's like, okay, that's pretty good. And so if we have a database and then we invite people to participate in that database or in some type of event, to ask them all for their biggest challenge or ask them all to participate next week or next month in the meetup, we can, in the mastermind seminars, we can go in and we can send out something like a flyer or a really cool trailer video and say, hey, I participated in this last month, and I'd like to invite you. And then there's a flyer, and then there's email copy down here. So there's an entire marketing resource library that we can take, and all we need to do is to make sure we have our database, get it set up into email or MailChimp or something where we can send it out. And all of a sudden, we've cloned ourselves, and with very little effort, we're touching hundreds or thousands of people.
Mark, thank you for sharing that. We had a question here. Someone wrote in and says, what is the most important thing about networking, and how do I differentiate myself from others?
I think the most important thing about networking is getting to people's challenge, their problems. So most people are out there looking for business, and they end up not getting business. If we are out there intentionally looking to bring value to people, that's going to get us so much more business than we could ever get out there looking. So it's almost like if you're looking for something, you don't find it. But if you're looking to help other people, you will find it, like Pam was saying.
Excellent. Excellent. And then how do I differentiate myself from others?
Well, one is by doing that. I mean, you're going to be different in doing it. Two is when you follow through. You say, hey, I was thinking about your biggest challenge.
So when you think most people, even if they go to a networking event, don't follow through, Mark? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I would say 98%. It's weird to me that they'll spend, an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours going to an event, and they have no system, no process to do follow-through, and it takes maybe 10 or 15 minutes, a couple times a week, so they won't invest that little extra time to really turn the opportunities into sales.
And isn't that what generating more and better leads is?
If you don't go ahead and follow through on the leads, like next month we're going to be talking, convert more prospects into clients. I mean, it's great that we have more and better leads, but it doesn't matter how great the lead is. If we're not strong in our follow through, well, then that lead's just going to go ahead and go to waste. Absolutely.
Wow. We're going to wrap up this segment. Thank you, Mark. Thank you, Ed. Thank you, everybody who participated here in the Speed Networking. And again, next month, we're going to go to Google Hangouts. So if you need to go to Google Hangouts and set something up, at least start talking to people, friends, family that you know, people, business associates that you know, people that you want to get to know better, and say, listen, I'm a part of this mastermind seminar opportunity. It's going to be next month, but in the meantime, we're developing a Google Hangout. Would you like to participate in something that could totally change your life? And it will. Getting their biggest challenges is vitally important, and being able to bring value to people and doing it, that differentiates us from everybody else. And by following through, we are in the 2% of the people, as Mark said, because 98% of the people aren't following up.